You're working your butt off, you're losing weight, and then everything just stops. What to do about it? That's what we're going to be talking about on today's episode. I'm Corey Aplin. This is Compound Action: How Small Steps Create Massive Change. And this one's by special request from my clients. And just to be clear, what we're going to be talking about today is ways to get past a hump or a stall when you're losing weight and the weight loss stops, which is different than if you haven't been losing weight and the weight still won't come off. That's a completely separate issue that requires a deeper, more individualized dive. So that's not what we're covering today. But for folks out there who are losing weight and then everything stops, it can be one of the most frustrating, demotivating things out there. So I've compiled my list of the 15 most common causes of weight loss stalls and what to do about them. I'll start with some things that might seem very basic on the surface, but they're actually some of the most common causes of weight loss stalls. The first one being water retention. And water retention can be caused by a number of things. It can be caused by high sodium intake. It can be caused by hormonal changes, especially during a woman's cycle, and even from increases in exercise. It leads to temporary stalls or even weight gain, which might mask fat loss. To address it, make sure you're drinking plenty of water to help flush excess sodium out of the system. And the standard I use is typically half your body weight in ounces every day. So, for example, a 200-pound person should be drinking approximately 100 ounces per day. You'll also want to monitor and limit the amount of sodium intake, especially after a high sodium day. And again, for women, tracking hormonal changes to recognize the patterns in water retention can be beneficial. Number 2 on my list also ties into water intake. It's constipation. And there's a ridiculous statistic: 95% of people in the US do not get adequate fiber. And inadequate fiber combined with dehydration can lead to constipation. To fix this is pretty simple by taking some small actions done consistently. Number 1 would be to increase fiber intake. Focus on adding in primarily more fruits and vegetables to your diet to get a good mix of soluble and insoluble fiber, with the ideal daily intake being somewhere between 25 and 35 grams per day. But it's also very important to combine that with proper water intake, because adding more fiber but without the water can lead to more constipation and make the problem worse. But now let's assume that water retention isn't the issue, constipation isn't the issue. The next most likely cause is something called adaptive thermogenesis. As you lose weight, the body becomes more efficient at using energy. It's totally normal. It's supposed to happen. But what that means is it burns fewer calories at rest and fewer calories during exercise. So this adaptation would slow down weight loss, even if following the same diet and exercise plan that was working previously. To address it, you would adjust your calorie intake as you lose weight to really account for the lower metabolic rate. Building or maintaining muscle mass can also help, as well as periodically increasing caloric intake to signal to the body that it's not in starvation mode, so it will boost metabolism, which leads right into cause number 4, which is undereating, leading to what we commonly refer to as starvation mode. And this problem arises when calories are restricted too much for too long. So the body starts to shut down. It goes into conservation mode. It's going to slow down metabolism to preserve energy. And what's really frustrating about this is it can lead to a stall in weight loss, even if you're eating very little. And the best way to combat this is by incorporating refeed or carb cycling days, where you're going to increase calories slightly to help reset metabolism. And I found that the opposite can also be true. So refeed days incorporate increasing calories for a day to reset metabolism. But in my experience, even dropping the calories down for a day as long as you bring it back up to where you're at before, can be just as effective. Possible weight loss stall problem number 5. Now we're getting into the mentals, behavioral and psychological habits. And the problem here is after initial success, a lot of people unconsciously relax their efforts. And what that does is it leads to small behavioral changes like eating larger portions. So these psychological barriers or diet fatigue, as it's commonly called, can also lead to plateaus. And when this is the problem, it's really important to reassess goals and motivation. Reconnect with the reasons why you started your weight loss journey to begin with and set new realistic goals. Also, being mindful of habits like emotional eating or just mindless snacking, and celebrating non-scale goals like improved fitness, better energy levels, better sleep, or even shedding inches, even if the pounds aren't coming off. Cause number 6 is something called caloric intake creep. And what happens is over time, even small increases in portion size, snacking, high calorie food and drinks can add up. And without realizing it, the extra calories can offset or completely neutralize the calorie deficit that's needed for continued weight loss, which ultimately leads to a plateau. And I know how frustrating this one can be because a lot of times people just don't realize it. They're saying, oh my gosh, I'm eating so healthy. I'm doing exactly the right thing, but the weight's not budging. And the best thing to do in this situation is use a food journal. You can do this on paper or using any number of apps that are out there to track the meals, track the snacks, and make sure that you're staying within your goals. It's important here to be mindful or cautious of things like condiments, dressings, and beverages that can really add in unexpected calories. Weight loss stall factor number 7 is loss of muscle mass. And the challenge here is anytime you lose weight, you will lose some muscle mass. It's unavoidable. Now, the amount of muscle mass you lose completely depends on what your diet and exercise routine looks like. Typically, severe caloric restricted diets, where someone may not be getting all the nutrients they need to fuel the body, are more likely to lead to more loss of muscle mass. So, avoiding extreme restriction, prioritizing protein intake, and even engaging in strength training exercise to preserve and build muscle while still losing fat. I'm about halfway through my list with number 8, and this one's for the gym rats out there. People are going to the gym all the time, especially if you're doing the same exercise routines over and over again. Your body adapts, so it becomes more efficient at doing the same exercises, which results in fewer calories being burned for the exact same effort. This can lead to a plateau in weight loss, even if you're consistently working out. Your best bet here is to vary your workout routine, make sure you're changing it up, increase workout intensity, and being really mindful to incorporate rest and recovery, which allows your body to heal. Number 9 cause of weight loss stalls, I want to give a lot of attention to because it has to do with increases in stress. And what happens is chronic stress leads to elevated cortisol levels, which promotes fat storage, especially in the stomach. It can increase cravings and appetite, making it harder and harder to maintain that calorie deficit. I believe it's so important to incorporate activities like meditation, yoga, deep breathing exercises, those types of things that are proven to reduce stress, making sure to schedule regular breaks and leisure activities to keep those stress levels in check. Also, prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night to help regulate cortisol. Because number 10 on my list is sleep quality and duration. The problem here is poor sleep impacts hunger regulating hormones like ghrelin, which increases hunger, leptin, which signals the body to feel full, and cortisol, which I just talked about, which leads to increased appetite, cravings, and again, a reduced ability to stick to a diet. Some best practices for a sleep routine are: number one, go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. This is going to help regulate your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythms. And I know it's hard, but that means even on the weekends, when we're waking up, say 6 a.m. during the week, but sleeping until 8 Saturday and Sunday, and then waking up 6 a.m. again on Monday, it totally throws those circadian rhythms off kilter. You can also limit screen time before bed, and that's because blue light interferes with melatonin production, which ultimately will disrupt your sleep. Keeping your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet promotes better sleep, and you're less likely to wake up frequently. Number 11 is hormonal adaptations. We talked about how weight loss affects those hormones that I mentioned, leptin and ghrelin, and can even affect thyroid hormones. These changes can increase hunger, reduce the feeling of fullness, and slow down your metabolism, contributing to the plateau. So monitor your hunger signals. Pay attention to whether you're eating out of true hunger or out of habit. Making sure to maintain consistent eating patterns with regular, balanced meals that can help regulate blood sugar and the hunger hormones. All right, number 12, only 3 more to go. This one has to do with nutrient deficiencies, which again can be common on severely restricted diets where people aren't eating really a good balance of high nutrient density foods, so their body just doesn't get everything it needs. Especially things like iron, magnesium, or B vitamins impact energy levels, metabolic efficiency, and overall health. So again, focus on nutrient-dense foods, high protein, and a good balance of fruits and vegetables. Number 13 is a topic I've spoken on a ton. It has to do with gut health and microbiome changes, because imbalances in gut bacteria, it impacts digestion, it impacts nutrient absorption, and even how the body stores or burns fat. It can also lead to inflammation, which contributes to weight loss stalls. This is where it's especially important to limit processed sugary foods that can disrupt the system, incorporating fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and fiber-rich foods. Those are the fruits and vegetables I talked about to support the healthy gut microbiome. I'll mention again the importance of staying hydrated, because water helps support digestive health and keeps everything functioning properly. And something I mentioned related to gut microbiome is inflammation, which comes in at number 14. Chronic inflammation can be due to a poor diet, which I can't stress enough. Just eating less, if it's poor quality food, can still cause a lot of inflammation. Inflammation can impair metabolism and cause the body to directly store fat, which is going to make weight loss a lot more difficult. And again, the best bet is to limit inflammatory foods. Those same ultra-processed, sugary, refined foods, and then incorporating foods that are anti-inflammatory. Whole foods, foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and antioxidant-rich fruits and vegetables. You can even consider incorporating an anti-inflammatory supplement like turmeric, curcumin, or omega-3s. And number 15, last on my list, are hidden medical conditions. This is going to come into play if you literally feel like you've tried everything. You've worked your way through this entire list, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, and the weight's still not coming off. Undiagnosed health problems like hypothyroidism, PCOS, or insulin resistance can totally halt weight loss, making it feel impossible to break through a plateau despite your best efforts. So if this is the case, follow up with your healthcare practitioner for additional guidance. But 95% of the time, it's from something else on this list. So make sure you're working through it to get back on track. That's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next one.